Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. So today's video, we're going to continue on doing the technique that we did yesterday with the rub-ons. But first, you got it. I have found a way to make this work for a challenge on my little scrapbook store. We still have till the 24th of August, so I'm trying to get them in. So on this one, we're going to be doing, I believe it's challenge number 5, which is mugshots, and it's use a selfie. But first, we're going to be grabbing our 12 by 12 rub-on, and this is from the Alina, I believe it's called, collection. I was just pulling out the challenge 5 so you could see it. And I'm doing my selfies with my cat Salem. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be doing both photos or just one. But at the end, I do know I wound up using both. So I got multiple different tools out for us to use to do the rub-on. And you want to be careful. I made a mistake right here. I put it down, and then I wanted to pick it back up and move it down, but I had to go back right where I was because when I laid it down, part of the rub-on did already hit the paper. So my suggestion would be take your time, don't be so fast like me, and yeah, make sure you place it exactly where you want it. Okay. So we're just using a multiple of tools, especially on this bottom part, because my idea was to grab from the bottom and slowly just work my way across and all the way up to the top of the paper. Okay. And I go back and forth between the stylist, the bone folder, and I don't think I pick up the tool that actually came with it during this process. I think I just used the tool, but you can use that tool. I have a bunch of those white tools and they work. I like using the wider end at the back and not so much the pointy end, but they work well. But I found because this is a larger piece that the stylus, the one with the balls at the end that you use to like curve your flowers, your paper flowers and stuff, that seemed to work the best, and my hand didn't feel as tired using it. But for surface area, my bone folder was the best, okay, because I could get a much wider area and get it put down quicker. Now, of course, my hand right now is moving a mile a minute because I sped up the video. But really, I just put on a show and I just took my time. You know what I mean? There was no rush. That's one of the things I like about doing voiceovers, because on things like this, it would have taken way too long for me to do it like trying to do it all live. It's better that I do it this way, but I'm going to let you know it's not a 5-minute thing, okay? It's not instantaneous. As I'm pulling it up, I'm seeing certain areas wasn't rubbed, so I have to lay it back down and rub on it again. So just I guess the best thing to do is just take your time. Take your time and go section by section. If you want to cut off the paper here, you can do that. I just like kind of let it fold over my arm, but you know, you just have to work it to where it's best for you. Now, the last time that I did this on this channel, we did it with all the sentiment phrases, right? There was the collection where it had all the words. It was all words in the 12 by 12 rub on, and we put the words as the background and then did our layout on top of that. Well, I wanted to show you can do it with the flowers too. You could do it with any of the 12 by 12. I know now they do mostly 6 by 12, and to be honest, you can do the same thing. You get more than one sheet on a 12 by 12. You could put half of the sheet on one and do a pattern paper on the other side. You could do 2 different rub-on sheets and then create like a center with pattern paper. I don't know. Like the options are endless on what you can do, depending on obviously what's in your stash. But if you want another way to try and use them and use up your product, this is a great and easy way to create high impact with really low effort. You know what I mean? It's just rubbing. All right, so now we're trimming down our photos, trying to make them 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then we're going to start grabbing elements from the ephemera pack. And this particular collection, I want to say this was one of the first ones that I remember seeing from them. And I do like the frame, but we're not going to use the frame. Some of these pieces are really big and the flowers are gorgeous, but just not for this project. So I'm going to start pulling stuff off to the right. You know, my typical tag that I like to use. Not tag, tab. I'm pulling these, they're almost like tickets. They're not I'm going to pull some of the short actual like ticket stubs. Those are right there. But I like the long ones as well. And I'm looking at the different sayings. And at this point, I really don't have a sentiment or a title for this layout. So I'm not going to have one to put on. I'm just leaving it with the word phrases and things that I find during the course of this. And sometimes that's okay too. You know, sometimes you have a title and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you have to wait until the title finds you. But I still love how this came out, and there's not a whole lot with this collection that I have left, but I'm able to create a really pretty layout with mostly the background being the attention. So for the photos, I'm going to do a mat using this craft paper, and I just cut it at 3 by 4. Okay, so we cut it at 4 inches, and then I cut 2 at 3. And we're going to have a nice border. And then I thought, you know what? I should cut that piece in half too. So that piece was a little bit over 6 inches. It was like 6.5. So I decided to cut at 3 1/4. And so it made them 2 separate pieces, which would allow me to make them kind of uneven instead of like just one solid piece. And then we're going to just use some of our tape and then glue. So that's the plan, to have one there. And then we can start adding some stuff. So basically what I like to do, I pull everything that I think I like that's going to work for the project, and I put it to the side, right? And then now that I have my photos matted, I can play with how is this going to start to look together. You know, I like the unevenness of this, doing them slightly off. So let's just start adding things, right? So I decided not to use the white, I think, because there's just so much on the white background, you know what I mean? So I wanted to create something with colors so that these would basically stand out and apart from the beautiful background. I do use that one white ticket, but that's okay because it's mostly covered by the green. And I also grabbed a few chipboard pieces here that we're gonna place around. And I'm just looking through, trying to find little sayings, things that we can put on. And I wind up seeing that there's some hearts, so we add that as well. And then there were a couple of butterflies, so I have those down. And I think that's it. Nope, I got a few more hearts that I want to put down. One there, and then I think I'm going to put one up by the me and you. Up at the top. I'm going to add that little phrase and then that there. But I'm not going to use that particular one. I'm going to put it to the side. And then, I grabbed that heart. There we go. Okay, I think that's it with the hearts. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's 5 hearts. Now, I will say, only because I didn't realize it until I went to take my photos, the one heart I do not glue down. I don't glue down until after I took pictures. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't glue it down. So at some point it may go a little wonky, but just know, eventually I do glue it down. So with this, I basically start working on one side. And I'm, for the most part, leaving everything kind of in place, right? I wanted to create keeping it as much as I could in the same exact spot. That's the one thing when you lay things out and start to figure where everything needs to go, having to move it to glue it is sometimes annoying. And you got to be, I can't take a picture because I'm recording. And, like I'm just trying to make everything last. And of course, I didn't think to grab my press and seal, but I think for this, for the most part, I get everything almost right exactly where I wanted it to be in the first place. Okay. Now, this element, I thought I would pop up, but it turns out by the end of putting everything together, it's sticking up too high. Like that piece of foam that I was using was super thick. So eventually I do take that piece off and then I glue it back down and I like it much better. So now we're doing the same thing we did to the right side. We're going to do the same thing to the left picture. Just moving things off slightly, figuring out exactly where we want to put these two elements over on the side. And I love the pop of orange. So I like that right there. And then we're going to go ahead and attach this. And it almost looks like we've used like a pattern paper, right? With the rub-ons that we put on the background. I don't know. I love how it turns out. I really do. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and glue this one. I automatically thought, you know what, glue it straight down. Then we're going to glue the heart on top of it. Super simple. And then the chipboard piece here is picture perfect. I don't know. Salem always knows where the camera is. He's just really good at taking photos. All right. And he's never far from me, which is funny because as I'm recording this, he was here with me and then he walked away. So he was here while we were recording too. So as we glue down more of the elements, I'm going to change where I was going to put that butterfly. I moved it up closer to the photo. I like it there better. And then this one, I like it like it's kind of flying off. It's almost like they came alive from the rub-on sheet. And then here right now, it's where I'm trying to figure out what else I should do. Because I'm thinking, I was trying to find thickers, something that I could put on to create a layout. And I was looking at the rose gold letters from that particular alpha sheets, but those weren't working either. So this is where I'm like, you know what? We're just going to leave it. We're not going to worry about that. But what we are going to do is splatters. Yes, we are. Because there's splatters already in the background, but I wanted to add black and I wanted to add gold. Yeah. So it's splatter time. My favorite time. I love splatters. And then once I did the splatters, I looked over to my left and there was some letters and stuff from a Cocoa Vanilla collection, and it had the word together. So I decided to grab that and put it on the tab because these were taken at 2 different dates. So to put a date on this wasn't going to work. So, but I like it with the together. And that way it also ties in the one I used up in the upper right. So that way it's not all alone. And here's where I take off the foam piece and then I just glue that one straight down. Love it much better. That way it's not sitting up too high. It was like a random piece. I didn't stick up anything else, so I had to get rid of that. All right. So thanks guys for joining me today. I'm probably, without a doubt, I'll be working on a few more of the challenges because we're almost to the finish line. I have 6 more to go and the 24th is right around the corner. But again, I just thank you guys for joining me. If you have rub-ons, try this. Try creating a background using your rub-ons. You won't be dissatisfied, I promise. All right, you guys, I'll see you with our next video. I hope you have a great day.